Good morning. This is Brigette Patton with Soul Massages. I just wanted to hop in here and talk a little bit about relationships and what's going on with the divine masculine and the divine feminine within each of us right now in this time period. So, going through the ascension process really means that we're going to connect mind, body, and spirit. So that's what the ascension process is. It's opening these channels of the mind so that the soul can really work at the highest level, moving in and out of the body, where you're receiving the messages with clarity and what you're sending out with intention is clear as well. And what's happening is as the divine feminine raises up within our world right now, as more people are awakening and utilizing the heart and the gut brains, it's really creating some contrast. People are feeling more empowered to trust their intuition. People are feeling more solid in their emotional intelligence, so they're speaking up about things that they know is not in alignment with the source energy within us. And so what's happening in our relationships is where that contrast that we've been experiencing for lifetimes on planet Earth, it's stored within us. It's actually stored inside of our DNA, and at a cellular level, it's within us. So the only way to clear this out of our bodies is to actually experience it and have a different outcome than what it has had in the past. And thankfully, we are of sound logic mind at this juncture, and we're, surrounded by a lot of light workers and spiritual healers and mentors and things that can help us illuminate what's going on within us so we don't feel like we're crazy, because we really are essentially losing our mind in order to create a new one, just like the earth is being created anew through these processes that we're going through. So when we are losing our mind and this organ is being upgraded, it feels a little bit like we're going crazy. We're noticing things that we didn't see before. We're speaking up about things, and people are looking at us like we're just trying to cause drama or chaos, when essentially within that chaotic energy, that's where we find peace. That's where we find clarity. That's how we see what's really going on, because we stir all of that energy up, and it moves up and out of our bodies. And when we can see it clearly in the physical world, then we can address it. Then we can acknowledge it. Then we can move through it. We can shift it. But unfortunately, it comes with a lot of transitions. And I say unfortunately, but really it is actually fortunate. Our ego just might not see it that way at first. But what's happening is there's a lot of contrast, because as that divine feminine is illuminated, the masculine can notice and recognize where it's not showing up. And this can be male or female within the masculine. It doesn't have to necessarily be a man. Yes, obviously, men have a prominent masculine energy, but there's also a lot of men that are allowing their feminine energy to come forth. And that's what I'm holding space for, because I'm seeing where a lot of the time the feminine is also resisting the masculine stepping into the feminine. So I'm not going to dive into all that right this minute, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about this, because when the feminine, that nurturing, intuitive side starts to be very prominent within you, it illuminates it within the ego what isn't showing up in this other person. So when somebody hasn't been doing the inner work, when somebody hasn't been shifting those belief systems to make room for these new ideals to come through, which aren't really new, they're just remembering, it's awakening. It's that awakening process. And when we're illuminating that within someone else, the way that you can still set firm boundaries, and you can still be nurturing and loving, and you can still hold space for people from that perspective, sometimes people don't want to change. Sometimes people have had such traumatizing experiences going through change that they resist the change that they're seeing they need to make. And so then they're going to project onto you. They're going to project onto you and everything else around them, because they don't want to see that they need to do things differently. And a lot of the time, actually probably 100% of the time, it's fear. It always boils down to fear and the illusion of, What do I have to let go of in order to step into this new identity? And that's scary to people. People, they're attached to the physical world. They're attached to the physical world in such a way that it doesn't allow them to move this energy out of their body. Instead, they latch on to whatever physical person is in their reality or whatever physical thing. It could be a materialistic thing. And they make it about that instead of going inward and seeing what needs to be shifted within them. And so my invitation to you guys, obviously, if you're going through this, I am here as a mentor to help guide you through this process, because it's not always going to be this way, but we have to take massive action. We can't keep doing things the same way we've been doing them. Things have to change, and the time to change them is right now, not tomorrow, not when you have enough money, not when you have enough energy. You have to start today, right now, or you're not going to change tomorrow. You can't keep saying you're going to do something tomorrow and say that that's when it's going to change. If you don't do it today, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It has to start today. You got to stop making those excuses and justifying behavior and actions and language. All of these things that we're using, that's our power, you guys. The boundaries we allow ourselves to set and give ourselves permission to shift through, that's how we maintain those high vibrations. It doesn't look the way that you think it looks. It doesn't look like, and I say this all the time, there's a car going by. It doesn't always look like rainbows and butterflies. A lot of the time it looks like stripping away raw, vulnerable emotions that are very real. But that's what makes us human, that those emotions that we're afraid of, that we, reject and that we stuff down and we ignore, every single one of those emotions that we cut out of our ability to connect with, it takes a part of our power away, because now we're not using all of the energy that's available to us in the universe. And eventually what happens when you shut those emotions off, the other ones follow. And pretty soon you don't know how to create, you don't know how to dream, and you cannot have a healthy relationship. You cannot connect with other beings in a healthy relationship because you can't connect with yourself on all of those levels. And so it's silly for us to believe that we can be in a relationship and we can connect with people when we absolutely don't even know who we are. If you don't know who you are, you do not have the relationship that you think you do with the people around you. And so again, my invitation to you guys always is to do that personal inventory, see what's resonating within you, and do the work. Quit making excuses and justifying that this is how it's supposed to be, because that's not true. You have a blueprint inside of you, and it's just yearning and aching to be uncovered by you. And the way that it gets uncovered is by connecting to your energy, connecting to your emotions. Every emotion you allow yourself to experience is another pathway to that stairway to heaven that we talk about. But that heaven is here on earth. It's not somewhere else. There's galactic beings that would love to be inside of these human bodies so that they could experience this beautiful life that we have available to us. And so you can start that today, right now. And so I hope you guys can really take this message to heart and see how this is showing up in your relationships. That divine feminine is really illuminating what isn't working with the masculine. We do not have to compete. We do not have to force things to happen. We're in a place right now where we can really allow them to come to us. That's the law of attraction piece, but that's just who we are as divine beings. And the more that we acknowledge our divinity within us and our power, the easier it is to take those steps and to see those messages. But because everything happens energetically before it happens physically, if you don't change those inner energy structures first, the external is not going to shift. It's only going to be the same cycle from different perspectives over and over and over again. So if you like riding on that merry-go-round, by all means, keep getting on it. But I'm saying right now, there's a lot more you can experience, and it's amazing. You can travel the world. You can connect with Mother Earth and other people who are in their bodies And you can't see it from a vantage point when you're stuffing your emotions down and refusing to acknowledge all of your parts. It's like trying to run a marathon with one leg. You haven't connected to a part of you, and so you aren't going to be able to make it through that marathon hopping on one leg. So I hope that you guys can get this message and it resonates deep within you, and you have an amazing weekend and enjoy this beautiful weather wherever you are. I love you and have an amazing day.